this issue of Flash, number 65, The Price of Justice, Part 4. So, this story, well, this issue is sort of like bringing it all home. And really, let's just sum up the end of it in the shortest way possible. Or rather, just getting to the end of it. So, they can't stop Gotham Girl physically, so they try to get her to talk. Effectively, we emotionally and physically tire her out because she's sort of letting her grief hit her, that she reveals that, the only reason she did this, the reason she attacked the Flash Museum and Central City Police Department was so she could save her brother. She was told this would be what was needed. And the fact, she knows she should stop using her powers, but without her powers, like, can she be a superhero? Can she be a hero? And then she comes crashing down, and it takes the combined efforts of Batman and Flash, each of them channeling the events of Sanctuary into their work. Like, they cannot let this person die. And it's a really great moment, especially for Barry, who's letting all these memories of Wally come flooding in as he's doing everything he can with Batman to save her. And then when they actually do, bring her back, they're like, okay, we're going to take her back to the Batcave. And that's when Iris comes in and says, no, you both get away from her. All right, because you've dragged another innocent into this life, another person in this dangerous life you leave, and you never once thought of the consequences. And this sort of works, and this really is sort of, I think, the problem that Heroes in Crisis is having, that this book sort of skimmed over. That because Iris, like Green Arrow, is someone who is deeply affected and wants someone to be held accountable. And the idea that Batman should be keeping people safe, he's actually caused more problems. Not Sanctuary was the brainchild of, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. But really only Batman seems to be the one, like, actually being held accountable. And her being mad at him and pushing back the way she does, it makes sense. It's her grief talking. And then she even goes to Bear, like, you're enabling him. Like, you're not telling him, you're not holding him accountable for it. And the truth is, they don't quite know how to handle it. They don't know how to talk to each other about this. We've seen this throughout this entire story. They don't quite know how to handle the events of Sanctuary. Barry is sort of torn between blaming him for it and not blaming him for it. Like, it's either all your fault or it's not your fault. And it's also my fault, which from what I've heard has sort of been the theme of Flash under Josh Williams, and everything is Barry's fault. At least he feels that way. Then we go to the Batcave where, Claire has been put into a vat similar to the one on the island that, Batman was able to reconstruct. And for some reason they say, like, she has no memory of what happened before this, like of who she talked to. Like, that's oddly specific. We could have just said she's in the vat. We won't be able to find out anything more until she's healed. And we could just say that's going to be for a good period of time. But no, she has to have no memory. So Barry asks what's next. Well, first we're going to get Claire some help, and which is what I should have been doing. And, if she wants to be a hero, there's not much I can do to stop her, and I don't think I should. And Barry's like, so we're just going to let this all happen again here, all right? Because if she snaps again, what happens then? And he sort of continues where Iris left off. We bring people into this life. We know it's wrong, but we keep bringing them in anyway. And this life, it never stops. Gotham Girl was right about you. And he points out again that, the hopeful and optimistic Barry Allen died along with Wally West. And he, again, gets in Batman's face. You act like you have all the answers, but you're just as clueless and playing it by ear as the rest of us. And that the greatest trick the Batman ever pulled was making people think he always has a plan. And he then goes, we can't allow this to happen ever again. The price of wearing these costumes, it's just too much. And Batman goes, we pay the price so our loved ones don't have to. And he's like, but they die anyway. They get shot, they get abducted, it's another bullet for Alfred, another kidnapping for Iris, another dead Robin. And I think that's sort of what pushes Batman over the edge, because, like, well, at least I never forgot that my partner existed. And that's a reference to DC Rebirth, where Wally West had effectively been removed from everyone's memories. And Barry gets in Batman's face, like, I could hit you 100 times before you even attempted to throw your first punch. And Barry just leaves. And Barry comes home to a letter from Iris. And it's ultimately Iris saying that she just can't do this anymore. Like, she needs space, she needs to get away. And she points out that this is sort of the real cost of superheroes. That, they save everyone just so they themselves end up alone. And then we get to the epilogue, which is Batman and Superman talking about, something is going on here. There are more mysteries. There's someone involved here, someone they won't name. And it says, like, I know him, he's tricky, and we need to figure out exactly who this goes to. We can't trust anyone else. We need to keep an eye on anyone that's been acting differently the past few months. And Superman suggests, well, should we bring, Flash in? He's a great CSI, one of the best detectives. Let's show him what we know and see what we go from there. Like, we can trust him, right? And Batman doesn't have an answer. So that's how the comic ends, with a little nod to the next upcoming thing from DC, which is DC's Year of the Villain, coming soon as the mystery deepens. So what was the price of justice? Sort of oddly placed. Like, this should have been placed after the events of Heroes in Crisis, because it feels like it's dealing with events after Heroes in Crisis. Like, presumably Wally will still be dead, but going by what we've seen, Wally probably isn't going to still be dead. So there's that, added to the fact that we still don't quite know anything else. Alright, we don't quite know anything else involving the events of Sanctuary. What makes this story work is the fact we're dealing with the fallout. It's Batman, Flash, and Iris that really carry this story, and I think that should have been what Heroes in Crisis is. Heroes in Crisis feels like it's trying to be Identity Crisis in some ways. I don't know. Like, when we see Batman and Wally in their internal dialogue and their ending clash here, the verbal sparring they have, it's really powerful stuff, I think, but everything else is just sort of, like, did this have to be Gotham Girl? I don't think it had to be. But the question of, like, do we have a right, or what do we keep bringing people into this life? To be fair, Batman doesn't really try to bring anyone in this life. He hasn't tried to bring anyone in this life since Tim Drake, for the most part. Like, everyone else just sort of needs to be in this. They need to be taught. They need to be trained. They either have abilities or they won't stop on their own. That usually is what Batman finds himself in. And Barry's posing a lot of complaints but no answers. Like, it doesn't get any better. By this logic, Barry should just stop. But he knows he can't. So it's, again, pointless. Anyway, with that in mind, let's bring this video to a close here. I know it's a bit of a downer. Ultimately, I think this story was decent. It was fun. The characters carry the story more than the actual plot. Anyway, like I said before, bring this video to a close here. If you're new to the Bucket Think Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out some other videos on the channel. It really helps, and I will catch you all later. This is the Bucket Think Tank signing off. May your fandom serve you.